Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. I am covering the Alec Murdaugh case. Let's talk about Alec Murdaugh and the tragedy regarding his housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield. Gloria Satterfield died years ago after a alleged trip and fall on the Murdaugh property. I'm going to play a conversation Alec had with an insurance adjuster, and he shares his timeline of where he was that day Gloria fell, what's his thoughts, and then I'll share it with you guys, and then we'll further discuss. Listen to this conversation. It is a audio recording interview with Alex Murdaugh. Check it out.
My name is Bryant McGowan. I'm in Moselle, South Carolina. Today is Thursday, March 29th. Time's approximately 11:15 a.m. I'm meeting with Alexander Murdaugh. Mr. Murdaugh, you understand I'm recording this statement?
Yes, sir.
And I'm doing so with your permission?
Yes, sir.
Can I have your full name, please?
Richard Alexander Murdaugh.
And do you go by Alexander?
I go by Alec.
Okay. And that's short for Alexander, obviously.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you understood. I already asked you that. What's your home address?
It is 515 Holly Street, Extension, Hampton, South Carolina, 29924.
Is that your primary residence address?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you lived there?
Since January of 2000, so 18 years. Well, 17 years and some.
Alec, you and I have been meeting to talk about an occurrence that happened here at the property involving a Gloria Satterfield back on February 2nd of this year, which was a Friday. And you recall the incident I'm referring to?
Yes, sir.
All right. I wanted to ask you some questions about, why don't you just go ahead and start off by filling me in as to how your day unfolded that day.
I went to work that morning and I received a phone call from my wife that Gloria was injured, seriously injured, and asking me if I could come home. I immediately left and headed to Moselle. It's about a 12 to 13 minute ride under normal circumstances, and I appreciated the fact that this was a serious injury, so I would estimate that I made it in probably 10 minutes or so. And upon arriving, found Gloria, my wife, my son Paul, and my employee Ronnie Freeman on the, we call it a patio for lack of a better term, landing area at the bottom of the steps. Gloria was there, sitting up, big pool of blood, a lot of blood on the side of her face, and shortly after I arrived here, EMS arrived and tended to her.
Did you know Gloria was coming to your house that day?
I didn't.
Okay.
But
was that uncommon? Was that uncommon for Gloria to be here at your house?
Uncommon for her to be here?
Yeah. Was it? I mean, you said when you left for work that morning, you didn't know that Gloria was going to be coming to work. I mean, coming for any purpose to the house.
I didn't know that day.
Right.
My wife knew she was coming.
Okay. Did you? And when you talked with your wife, you understood that she was coming for what reason?
Gloria was coming to be paid. My mom inadvertently left town without paying Gloria for work and had asked Maggie to pay her on her behalf. And so Gloria was coming here to get paid.
Okay. And were you able to speak with Gloria before she was taken away in the ambulance?
I was.
Okay. Did you ask her what happened?
Sure, I asked her what happened. I mean, the first thing I was making sure that Gloria, I was trying to assess her mental capability at the time. Did she know where she was? Did she know what was going on? That type of thing. And, you know, asking her if she knew me. Did she know Maggie? Did she know Paul? Did she know Ronnie? Did she know where she was? So
How was she responding to this?
she knew those things. She knew where she was. She knew who I was. I mean, she obviously was not functioning at full capacity, but she did. She knew those things.
Okay. And then the ambulance removed her, and did you follow the ambulance after that?
I did.
Okay.
I followed the ambulance to Colleton Hospital, and they were a little bit ahead of me. They lost me going through town. I was able to keep up with them in the rural parts, but in town they kept plugging away, and I slowed up, for the speed limits and traffic, and I'd say they got a few minutes ahead of me. So when I arrived at the hospital, they were actually loading Gloria onto the helicopter.
Okay. Now, here at your home, I know you and I covered a lot of information regarding the dogs you've got.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you just go down I think you said you have 4 dogs?
4 dogs. We have Bubba, who is a yellow lab, and he's the oldest. Estimate that he's probably 6 years old. We have Bourbon, who is a chocolate lab, who I estimate is probably 1.5 years old, maybe younger than that. I'd say 1.5 years at the oldest. We have Blue, who I estimate is 1 year old, and Blue is a Labrador Poodle mix, so a Labradoodle. And then we have Sassy, who is a German short hair, who is no more than 6 months old.
Okay. And in particular, I think you had expressed that Bourbon, the female chocolate lab, I believe she was purchased from Lazy Lab Kennels, and we're gonna button up all that data. But she had been away at a obedience school. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how long had she been back when this incident occurred?
I believe that when this thing was going on, we knew. I think it had been a day. I think she had been back a little more than a day.
Okay.
So the first question I have is, was Alec Murdaugh telling the truth when he was speaking to that insurance adjuster? He was talking about specific time from where he was at his office, going to the Moselle home after Satterfield fell. I thought that was a little bit odd. He would know those key details. And then one thing I noticed, that Alec never visited Gloria in the hospital. She was in the hospital for multiple weeks, I believe, after she fell, before she died. Alec didn't visit her at all there. I thought that was a little bit strange and odd myself. And then let's talk about the Bourbon Murdaugh, the black Labrador that Gloria allegedly tripped over. Well, I mean, it's been, we've heard that the black Labrador took obedience school right before Gloria fell, so I can't understand how a trained dog would be in that vicinity for Gloria to trip. Those are 3 things I noticed. Is there anything that you noticed odd about that situation, or anything dealing with the fall of Gloria Satterfield? Recently, authorities have announced that they exhumed her body. She was buried, and they're re-examining her body. Is there a new investigation open for Gloria and what happened to her? There's some speculation out there that maybe Maggie Murdaugh did it. And I'm not victim shaming somebody that Alec ended up killing, his wife, but maybe Gloria, or maybe Maggie did it. That's, some people's questions. I'm not so sure. What I think, though, is the situation needs to be investigated and looked at thoroughly to give Gloria families peace and closure with the situation. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, and check out my Alec Murdaugh playlist. I have lots of videos. I'll be posting more videos later, audio recordings and jailhouse recordings that I have of Alec Murdaugh talking to his family. Let's get into this guy's mind and figure out what makes him tick, how he thinks, how he communicates with others. We're evaluating and inspecting. Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. We'll talk soon. Everyone be safe. Justice for the victims and their families.